So for this next segment, we're going to talk about how the next frontier of crypto is entertainment. And with me, I have Matt, the director of the Magic Eden Foundation. Welcome.
Hi, everybody.
Maybe just to start off from your personal journey, you joined Magic Eden, which is one of the biggest NFT marketplaces today, pretty early. Maybe how did you get into crypto, and what was your personal journey that ended at Magic Eden?
Yeah. Okay. So personal journey started in 2013, actually, when I was buying Bitcoin on Coinbase when the app just first came out. And back then it was a pretty janky app, and I sadly didn't buy enough Bitcoin. And then I ended up working in finance and was attracted to markets and was an investment banker at the time when I was buying Bitcoin, and then went to work in consumer tech company, Lyft, and got to know consumer marketplaces and consumer marketplaces at scale. 4 years later, Lyft was a really fun ride, but it was like the pandemic at timing, and so the business was really affected. And then, having known consumer marketplaces, I knew the Magic Eden founders, and they said, "Hey, look, we're starting a company." And initially, I wasn't actually interested in NFTs at all, or crypto. But then he showed me the P&L, and my eyes just like, I'd never seen something so hyper efficient and profitable from the start, and like truly a rocket ship. So like as soon as I got to know the company, did my diligence, I was like, man, this is like a use case and like a marketplace that I've never seen before. So I was very excited to join early and be part of that team and have a lot of hats.
So you started at Magic Eden very early. Can you maybe walk us through that journey of what Magic Eden looked like in the beginning and where it's headed now?
Yeah, for sure. Because Magic Eden's also, I think the brand that most people know it for is this large NFT marketplace. We're the largest NFT marketplace in the world now. And we started it on Solana as a single chain NFT marketplace with one product, just the secondary trading. And today we're on 12 different chains, 10 different revenue lines. It's been sort of a journey getting there. Our brand is also synonymous with Bitcoin in a lot of places, like Asia, where our Bitcoin products are pretty popular. We basically, over the last 3 years, it's felt like building 3 different companies at once. And we've dominated NFTs and became the largest marketplace in the world. And then now, over the last year, we launched a wallet. Over the last year, we launched ME Token and the Foundation, which I'm now part of, and have been expanding into all sorts of different products, including entertainment, like what I'll call entertainment products. And that's where a lot of the growth of Magic Eden will come in the future. And so definitely not an NFT marketplace anymore. Actually, our revenues are very well diversified today. And Magic Eden is becoming very quickly like an entertainment platform full stack, with all sorts of different products. And that's really where the next growth leg will come from.
Yeah, can you define entertainment a little bit more? What do you mean by entertainment, and what does it mean that Magic Eden is moving into entertainment?
Yeah. Okay, so we had an aha moment actually in 2023. It was after we launched our Bitcoin marketplace. We still had the NFT marketplace. It was humming along. It was doing great. It was growing. We launched this product called Lucky Buy. And this product was really interesting because what it basically was, it allowed a user to set their own chances of getting an NFT, and that's how much they would pay in listed price. So introduced this like luck dynamic to the experience, and what we saw from that is a massive spike in engagement, massive spike in users coming to the platform. we had essentially whale users reusing, re-rolling Lucky Buy, and from the user side, the user still gets the full value asset that they're sort of going and doing a chance Lucky Buy for. So immediately the user has upside, and it's essentially paid for by the marketplace. So super popular product, and we thought, hey, we're actually onto something here. This is very different than just listing an asset on the marketplace and just buying and selling. It actually added this very social, very fun dynamic to the marketplace, and our users loved it. And actually, we didn't market the product at all. We didn't actually for a long time invest too deeply in it, and we geo-blocked it in a lot of places, and users just managed to find it. And it's like a sneaky product because now it does 20% or actually a quarter of all the revenue. And that's without us really marketing it too hard, investing it too hard. And so that was the first iteration of what I'll call entertainment product. And a couple weeks ago, we launched another entertainment product, which is digital pack ripping. And that one's been a smash hit too. And digital pack ripping, you can kind of think of just if you guys are familiar with pack ripping normally, it's...
I think you have to define what pack ripping might be, yeah.
Yeah, so think about it like this. You have a digital collectible, could be an NFT. The one that we're piloting this product with and had a lot of success with are actually digitized Pokemon cards. And it could be anything, any sort of RWA in the future, but right now I think this is where we see a good use case for consumers. But we basically have a pack in digital format. The tokenized version represents ownership in the real thing that's vaulted away somewhere. And we use third-party providers that have proof that this thing exists. So you open up a pack, you don't know what's in it, and you have all sorts of chances to get either a rare chase card or a rare digital collectible. And it's another chance-based dynamic, and it's, again, we saw over the weekend that we launched it, 10 million in volume, which is much bigger than the entire NFT industry combined. 100,000 packs were ripped. User engagement went through the roof, and that was only a couple weeks ago, and it's doubled since then. So that's the next iteration of what we call entertainment products, and it's very much like Lucky Buy, but I think we're having a lot of success seeing building these entertainment products in this product suite, and users are really excited by it.
Yeah. So I guess first it was Lucky Buy, then it's pack ripping. I think you also mentioned to me that streaming was a big part for the pack ripping as well, which is interesting because I think it starts making a lot of these products really social, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's funny because streaming right now is actually part of the trad pack ripping experience. People go on YouTube and they open up a pack, a physical one. Yeah. And we're doing the same thing. We're actually hosting our own streams, and people are going on the website and pack ripping the digital version, and it's the exact same experience, but here, you don't have to be encumbered by getting the physical thing. You have a digital thing that you could immediately sell back to the marketplace and re-roll. So it's actually a lot more efficient from that perspective. But to your point, it's inherently social. It's a very, very social product. And what we built into it after people open up packs is a card that shows you what you got in your upside, so you could immediately share it online, and people we saw all over the timeline, people just sharing their pack rips and sharing that I got a super rare digital collectible. So it is a very inherently social product, and I think we're definitely leading into that. And the roadmap is actually going to put people against each other, pack ripping and doing battles and doing more of these social gamified things, which is really fun.
Yeah. So you mentioned Magic Eden just introduced pack ripping. That's already making more revenue than you said the entirety of the NFT market combined. Is that right?
Yeah.
And What are other products that's coming out? I feel like you'd mentioned prediction markets. I'm curious what other things you all are thinking about.
Yeah, so prediction markets is definitely something that's we've been heads down thinking a lot about deeply, and the way that their current iteration of prediction markets right now is very, very broad. We're definitely early into the prediction markets use case, and we think there's actually quite a lot of room to innovate on what the consumer product looks like. Because for one, I think prediction markets, the current iteration today, they're just very market focused and very wide, and you pick any one category, and you don't have as much breadth or selection as if we talk about sports, like you go on DraftKings, you have all the selection, all sorts of bet types, excuse me. You have all sorts of ways that a user could engage with the products and make money. And then you go in a prediction market and you can't actually do the same things, the same sort of things that users crave. You actually just have the main quote unquote money line. So for specific categories, I think if there's a company that can go very deep, I think there's actually quite a lot of green space to innovate on, quite a lot of user product that's new. And I think there's space for us actually to go in and launch something interesting. So yeah, there's definitely that coming down the pipe. You could expect it sometime at the end of the year where we start talking about it. This is actually a little bit of alpha because we haven't really disclosed that we're entering the space, but that's definitely on the frontier. And in the meantime, we're going to continue to innovate on our just core entertainment product suite, which is things like Lucky Buy, trading, tokens, etc. And yeah, excited for that.
Yeah, it feels like there's all sorts of directions that Magic Eden or really any crypto company today could go in. And of course, token trading is where we see a lot of revenues coming in right now. Why, I guess especially at a conference that's really focused around institutional use cases for crypto, which tend to mean financial use cases for crypto, why do you think entertainment is actually the right direction to go in?
Yeah, great question. It's basically why not DeFi and why?
Yeah, why not DeFi?
Yeah,
why not DeFi? Why not token trading? And I think OpenSea, for example, is moving more in the token trading direction.
No, that's right. They are. All the luck to them. We looked at that space and we saw a lot of the same things that we've seen in NFTs. After all, it is a very similar experience to trade tokens. But why not DeFi? Why not token trading? And why entertainment? When you think about it, and you try to think about just very, very broad consumer use cases, and think about this like a consumer, and just think about what it takes to build a very generational company. We want the market to be as massive as possible, and the use case to be as friendly to everybody as possible. So I would actually say that most people, when they're looking to spend some downtime and have some fun, they don't open up a spreadsheet and think about restaking and looping and all these DeFi use cases, and they actually open up their apps and open up a game and entertain themselves. And you could see that actually today in the US, I think something like less than half of everybody has a 401k, is investing. It's an opportunity for all these platforms, institutions, and Robinhood to also go after that sort of use case, investing in DeFi and such. But in comparison, you have 200 million Americans playing video games, right? So it's more Americans and more people around the world are entertaining themselves with these use cases and these video games versus investing in their 401k. And that's a very that's just a trend that's been happening for a long time. So when we think about what is the biggest possible market to go after, what is the most exciting market to go after, it's entertainment. It's not necessarily overly financialized things that the average consumer doesn't actually care that much about. And I think if you look under the hood and you start to look at the industry and look at gaming and entertainment apps, you realize they're actually quite massive, like sneaky big. And even like the most like public ones too. I'll go back to talking about like Robinhood. Like I mentioned, Robinhood, they have something like 25 million users, and that's like funded accounts. And they have 401k products, they have trading, etc. But in comparison, Twitch has 10 times the amount of users. They have something like 240 million monthly actives in comparison. So you have these two very mature companies, I would call them at this point, still growing, but one of them is going after an entertainment use case and is an order of magnitude bigger and has an order of magnitude more engagement, I would say.
Yeah, just from my personal feeling, having been in crypto since 2018, I also feel like crypto is a very blurred line between entertainment and finance. And the line is just getting blurrier and blurrier. I think you mentioned Robinhood. Robinhood introducing prediction markets is suddenly putting a lot of entertaining content in what, I guess 10 years ago we would have thought as purely a traditional finance app. At the same time, short form videos about trading and how people are trading their way to 100K or a million or however that much that is one of the most popular forms of short form videos on TikTok and Instagram Reels. And so that has a real following as well. It also feels like crypto from the very beginning was entertainment. We have the best memes. NFT trading, I think, has always been extremely social. Token trading is extremely social. There's all these kind of groups talking about it. And so it feels like it's always kind of on this path, like finance entertainment is always on this path of merging. And Magic Eden is just skewing more on the entertainment side of things.
Yeah. I would say 100%. What you said, NFTs, that's sort of like the first wave of inherently social entertainment token trading. You have token trading that's, again, it's actually not, token trading is not like a social experience. You could be like in your, basement just trading, which is kind of like a meme, but inherently it is, right? Like, you want to show off your P&L, like those videos are very, very social and viral. And I like to think of these things, and we like to think of these things all on a sort of continuum and sort of the same type of product. I think NFT and token trading was actually slightly harder version of this gacha-style machine product that we have nowadays. And that's just an easier, more consumer-friendly version. And then on the other side, you have actual chance-based betting, and you have prediction markets, and you have sports books, and that's the even easier version of the same similar product. So all these things, I guess, are just like on a spectrum, and I think how we think about it is the actual alpha is in creating that entertaining use case. Because again, back to prediction markets. Prediction markets today are basically like a market, and a user's like, what's the EV of yes or no? But I don't think people are waking up to that. They're not waking up and being excited about some outcome of a market. They're excited about the cultural moment and being entertained, and they want to know about other meme markets. So I think we have this superpower of creating these sort of very entertaining experiences and gamifying and making them very social. And I think that's actually a way to capture that user that's more top of funnel and cares about this sort of user experience.
Yeah, I guess just even on the topic of user experience, It's very surreal now. Just having been in crypto since 2018, we've had stable coins since 2018, but it feels like adoption is finally happening now. Even prediction markets, right? Poly market was very early. I remember, I don't know the exact date, but I remember talking to that team in like 2019, something like that. So they've been working on prediction markets for a long time, but all of a sudden now that's taking off. And so it feels like there's this huge amount of momentum. And crypto has been talking about, when do we get mainstream users? When are we going to bring, billions of users on chain? We've been talking about that for a long time, but something about the moment now feels really different. I'm curious, from your perspective, what is it about entertainment that's possible now, or kind of a mainstream consumer application that's possible now in crypto?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, because I think it's always memed like, hey, when mainstream adoption, and I'd say like to your point, the moment feels like is ripe now, and I think it's like probably a mix of very different things that are going on right now, and one is, I think the most important is you have to have like very fast performant infrastructure. So we're at a point where being like building on a performant L2 or performant L1 is, and there's tons out there. I think the path to building a product that's very fast, decentralized is actually available and available widely. And it's not as costly to do that anymore. You don't really have to build your own chain to build a good dApp. So that's number one. It's like enabled by, like crypto technology, and that's like the very exciting moment we're in now. So like, Polymarket being an example, built on Polygon. Two is you have enough crypto adoption globally. That number keeps ticking up, but I feel like we're sort of at this turning point where crypto is, no longer a niche product. I think people, thanks to folks like Robinhood and the exchanges, like they just have a portion of their wealth in crypto. So that's the other very important thing, is like it's not a weird thing anymore, and people, I think it's past the point of being niche, and people like are adopting crypto, and everyday consumers know what it is. And then what I'd say is probably the third most important is I think users today are also very into these entertainment products. I think, going back to Robinhood again, like you could bet on a prediction market right next to investing in your 401k, and I think there's some dissonance for some
wild.
users. Yeah, some users are probably feeling this like, hey, what I could have all these options, but actually that's great. That's like more consumer choice. That's amazing. So we're sort of in this environment where you have that.
To me, it seems like a generational difference. Like, I just think younger people are just more comfortable with finance and entertainment being synonymous. Yep. In a way that when I meet someone a little bit older, I think there's a very compartmentalized view of what is finance and what is entertainment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And one more thing. Yes, and I actually also think the regulatory environment is quite friendly right now. So all these products that, like the SEC was coming after not too long ago, and issuing Wells notices to different companies and our competitors, and we sort of were like, oh, we're kind of next, right? Now that's no longer the case, and we're in a much friendlier regulatory environment. The rules are becoming much clearer, and so you put all these things together in a pot, and you have sort of this like great moment in time right now where you can launch an interesting product that sort of blurs the lines, and I think that's always where the alpha is going to be.
Yeah. Just to be more forward-looking, what do you think this entertainment finance space looks like in maybe 5 years? Or what would Magic Eden look like if they were able to take advantage of this space?
Yeah. I think number one is you're going to continue to see the growth of the dApp layer, I'll call it, like applications instead of infrastructure, and applications capturing users in just a much bigger way, and eventually applications like overtake the infrastructure layer. And so I think all these entertaining products and all these experiences are probably going to be housed in one place. Ideally that's Magic Eden. We're working on adding all these entertaining use cases, and then two, importantly, I think everything under the hood should be like top of the top class execution, and the way you enable that is actually through a hybrid mix of aggregating decentralized exchanges, aggregating other exchanges, and empowering your own centralized order book at the same time. So I think there's going to be like a hybrid version of the infrastructure layer, which is, I think, necessary in a lot of ways. I think we could talk all about decentralized order books, and there are upsides and downsides, but I think a hybrid approach is going to be best for providing these sorts of like entertainment options. And like in the case of like sports books and order books, when you have like just a decentralized order book, it's kind of tough because you can, like, any user can go, it's peer-to-peer bet, and it's peer-to-peer, but you actually have a cold start problem with liquidity. So I think you do need a mix of both to provide like the best available odds, the best available pricing for the user, and it's all in the same layer.
Yeah, that's a really interesting observation. Feels like another thing that's different now is crypto used to kind of stand for this hardline decentralization, but now we see a lot of apps that are kind of a mix of centralized and decentralized. They have some portions of their code that's closed source, or they have certain portions that's permissioned. Like Polymarket is permissioned markets still, right? So you can't just go in and create any market. And it seems like for the cases like entertainment or things where you're expecting faster transactions, perhaps slightly lower value transactions, being a little bit centralized or being hybrid is okay and an advantage.
Yep.
And on the flip side, you have things like Ethereum that kind of stands by its decentralization and is the settlement layer for finance. And so it's interesting to kind of see this emerging as a difference in the industry as well.
Yeah, for sure. And as a overall, Magic Eden is a product builder, and I think the North Star is creating an experience for users that is seamless and easy and they love. And everything else is secondary. I think crypto is a great enabler of a lot of these things that are great for the user, like global liquidity, decentralized liquidity, and that creates good pricing for everybody. If in the case of an order book, provably fair odds. Putting the odds on chain. It's not a black box. So there's a lot of things that are net better for the user. And of course, incentives for a lot of these consumer products, and tokens. Everyone, like all the users today, are like using these products because there is some incentive down the line, and all that I think is net good for the user. But it's, I think, somewhat secondary to like a really good consumer experience. And I just think we will take the best parts of crypto. We will take the best parts of a centralized infrastructure stack, combine the two, and come up with something that's like, it sort of gets at all the gaps that you see today. And we're not very dogmatic about like, hey, we should be extremely decentralized or not. It's like the consumer experience should come first, in our opinion.
Yeah, makes sense. And just in our last minute here, what do you think we can expect to see from Magic Eden in the next year?
Cool. I'm very excited for something we haven't talked too much about is the token. It's out there. We launched it last year, and there's a really good fun updates coming for the token and the token ecosystem very, very shortly this week. So stay tuned to that. And then I think just a continuation of entertainment products, and expect us to launch really exciting product at the end of the year that gets at all these spaces, prediction markets. Like, let's call it a hybrid. I don't want to just call it a prediction market, but let's call it a hybrid. And that's the next leg, and that's where a lot of the growth will come from.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you to the audience.